Hey y'all, so today we're checking out a holster from 1791. This is the Ultra Custom holster. Now what makes this Ultra Custom? Let's find out. All right folks, taking a closer look at this holster here from 1791 GunLeather. This is the Ultra Custom. It's a leather holster, so you want to know what makes it custom. We're going to talk about that. Let's see what we get in here. So we have a holster here. We've got some instructions. We've got a heavy duty bag. And we've got some little tools in here. We have a belt clip. And we've got all these tools and some more instructions and a silica pack, which as always I suggest not eating. Now, what are these tools for? Well, this holster, in between the layers of leather, has Memory Lok material. And what that's going to allow you to do is mold this holster to your firearm. We're going to go through step by step, but close look at this holster. Stitching's all really nice. Let's get this out of here. A little bit closer look here. Yeah, we've got the holster. This is all really well stitched. Nice leather work. 1791 branded. Nice looking holster, but it's not molded to your firearm. So this holster is going to allow you to mold this to your firearm. And we're going to show you the steps on that. Now, this is a right hand holster, and it's going to be in size 2. So this is going to fit like J-frame revolvers, LCR, Taurus 856, and what we're using it for today is the Taurus 327 Federal. They send you instructions here, and it's pretty thorough written instructions. There are some videos online on molding this holster, and I'm going to show you real quick too. I'm not going to get as in-depth as those maybe, but just reading the instructions, if you're not real familiar, it may be a little bit difficult. You do have a couple tools here, like I said, and the other thing you get in the box is your clips and your hardware to attach the clips. So we're going to go through step by step. And the first step is we're going to bring about a gallon of water up to 165 degrees. We're going to place our holster in this heavy duty plastic bag they provided, and we're going to weigh it down with something to keep it kind of in the water. So we're going to do that now. So I'm just going to go with a wrench here. We're going to get our holster in the bag. And let's get some water going. All right, so we've got our hot water going here, and you want to do this to about 165. If you don't have a thermometer, 165 is going to be kind of when these little bubbles start forming on the bottom, but before they start rising, roughly. I'm just over 165 by a couple of degrees. You don't want to go too much over. You can damage the holster, so really you want to stick in that 165 range. Got our holster here, weighed down with a wrench. We're going to go ahead and put this in. And that's not, I may need more weight. Let me get some more weight in here. All right, so I've put a little more weight in there. I'm going to get the holster in here. It still wants to float a little bit. Make sure you get all the air out of the bag. I think that's the problem I'm having here. Okay, so we've got it in the pot here. Water temperature 165. Make sure you don't exceed 185 degrees. That will damage the holster, or could damage the holster. Probably will damage the holster. So I've got it pretty steady at 165. I suggest get a deeper pot. So this is kind of a wide, fairly shallow pot, even though it's a big pot. The holster wanted to come up, float. I did try to get all the air out of the bag, and I did put weights in it, but it still wanted to float up. So I actually just kind of put something on top of it to hold it down. But if I had used a deeper, more narrow pot, I think it would have worked out fine. So that was my mistake. But timer just went off. So I did it for about 5 minutes or so. I checked it. It was still a little hard, so I left it in there another couple of minutes. We're going to go ahead and pull it out of here and take the next step. All right, you can see now this holster is super flexible, whereas before it was kind of rigid and hard. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead. First off, this is unloaded. So make sure it is unloaded. You want to go ahead and insert it into the holster. Get it nice and snug in there. And now what we're going to do is we're going to use our tools here. So this is going to help create a little bit of a sight channel there. So I kind of shove that in there. You don't want that sight hanging up. You want it nice and easy to draw. And the same thing back here. We want to give it a little bit of room. And then what we can start doing is kind of molding around the trigger guard. Right. And these tools will help you kind of press and help mold that. So this is going to give us a nice shape once it cools. Very flexible right now, so we're just going to keep working that, get that nice and tight on there. And if you don't like how this cools, how the retention is, all that good stuff, you can repeat this process and do it as many times as you need. As long as you don't exceed 185 on the water temperature, then you should be good to do this as many times as you need. Nice thing about this, if you change maybe to a different revolver or something like that, you can actually form this to a different firearm. They also do make these for a bunch of different firearms. You can do, striker fired, like Glocks, things like that. They have them for 1911s, all that good stuff. This one I just happened to get for the Taurus 327. And we're going to let this cool a little bit and form up. I like that so far. Looks like we got it formed pretty well. Now, the main thing is you want it to have solid retention, but you also don't want it too hard to draw. You don't want any hang-ups, hence this, little tool here to make a sight channel. And you can do it back here as well, just to make sure that when you go to draw this, it comes out smoothly. The retention's great, but if you can't draw it smoothly, then it kind of defeats the purpose. So we're going to just give that a second to cool, and we'll see what we get here. All right, so we've let this cool down now, and you can see it's pretty well molded to the firearm, whereas before when I took it out of the water, it was kind of just flat like a pancake. And now it's molded. Draws really easy, but it almost feels like it clicks in right there, and the retention's really, really good for a leather holster. I don't normally carry leather inside the waistband. It makes me a little nervous. I prefer Kydex. But if you do like leather, especially for, these old wheel guns, it's almost like it clicks into place and the retention's really good. And I may do this again, kind of trial and error. I could have formed this a little more around the trigger guard to give it a little more retention, and it would click in even further. Just trial and error. You can do this as many times as you need, as long as you don't overheat it. But a pretty nifty little holster. Well built, leather, and with that Memory Lok technology in there, very cool. Keeps its shape. And like I said, it's almost like retention in a leather holster, which you don't normally get. So very cool. These have been out a while. I think these came out kind of like 2019, 2020. I just noticed it recently on the 1791 site, and I asked them if I could have a sample of one of these, check it out, and they were happy to oblige. I do appreciate that. So they sent one out to me, and I'm really impressed with this. I mean, the leather working on anything from 1791 is really high quality. The really nice stitching and all American made leather working. So very nice. This one in particular is pretty cool with that Memory Lok technology. And this is still slightly warm, so it may actually stiffen up a little bit more. We'll give that a few minutes and we'll see if that retention gets even a little bit stronger. All right, so I let it cool a few more minutes. And I'll say it's not the retention of Kydex, of course, but you do get a nice positive seat into there because you're able to mold that around that. And that's pretty secure. The technology is pretty cool with that Memory Lok. It's already stiffening up pretty good. You can see it's holding its shape. You kind of squeeze it and whatnot. It's staying that form. Fits really nice. So pretty cool option if you are into leather. If you want to, if you're carrying a revolver or something like that. And they make these for outside the waistband too. So you don't have to run inside the waistband leather. Like I said, I don't normally. I prefer the security of Kydex. And like I said, they make them for a bunch of different size firearms, and they're moldable. And if you don't like the way this comes out, just heat it back up and remold it, which is very, very cool feature. So that's what I got for you today on the Ultra Custom holster from 1791. I'll link this in the description below. I also have some links for 1791 in my campsite page. You'll find all my affiliate links there. Using any of those links costs you nothing extra, and it does help the channel. I do appreciate that. I will see y'all next time I make a video. Y'all stay safe out there.